Today we're going to take a look at 5 clubs from Denmark that are worth checking out every time a youth intake happens because they have the chance to produce some actually pretty good footballers. And we're not talking about Copenhagen, Midtjylland, Brøndby or Nordsjælland either. We are though going to talk about Silkeborg, a team in the top division of Danish football, but they do have the possibility to produce some pretty decent footballers over time. We're going to use 120 potential for the lower end of this list for the Danish players, and we're going to kick things off with Alexander Kostov, who is Danish and part Macedonian. He's got 122 potential ability. With 127 potential ability, Morten Moller is 19 years of age, a central midfielder by trade. Looks quite good if you ask me. And with 128 potential ability, one of 6 players with 120 to 130 potential ability from Silkeborg, we have Christian Born, 18 years of age, left winger. Looks pretty good. Obviously at 18 years old, probably needs to get a bit more game time to get better. 2 players have 130 potential or higher. Christian Olvli is one of them, and he is 16 years of age, a defensive midfielder by trade. I do quite like the look of him. I play a system in most of my saves with a defensive midfielder. He'd fit it perfectly, and I play him week in, week out. With 138 potential ability, Jesper Iversen is next up, 17 years of age, left winger, but could probably play more centrally if you really need him to. Obviously, we know what his potential is going to be in this save, but he doesn't look particularly bad. And top of the pile with 146 potential ability, we have Christian Johansson, a 16-year-old right back and left back if you really want him to be. Mentally, looks really good, doesn't he? With 146 potential as well. There's plenty of room to grow. He's only 16. Right now, he looks like a half-decent footballer. He can probably get some game time for Silkeborg. AGF have produced 12 players in this save with 120 potential or higher, and right now they're actually in the 2nd division of Danish football. They've just been relegated, so they're not one of the big teams, but they're still managing to produce some pretty decent young players. Not least, one of 5 players with 120 to 130 potential ability is Issam Jelassi, who is Tunisian and actually part Danish and looks pretty good already. He's wanted by probably FC Nordsjælland. Okay, I was going to say probably a team in the top division because I think he looks pretty good already. Somebody has already moved over to FC Nordsjælland is Joachim Hovenhoff, who has 131 potential ability, defensive midfielder with 16 tackling, which is very good, but only a height of 5'7", so you probably couldn't retrain him to be a centre-back, but as that ball-winning midfielder, he looks pretty decent. One of 2 players with 134 potential is Klaus Brunn, 16 years of age once again. On that right-hand side, he's very fast, got some reasonable technical numbers in heading and technique, but obviously we know his potential, he's going to get pretty good. And somebody who is already pretty good at 134 potential ability is Kasper Bjerring, who has moved over to Benfica for £3.7 million, which is a good chunk of change for an AGF team who've literally just been relegated, so he's only just moved over there. Bjerring looks very good right now, but I think he's very close to his maximum ability as well. Another player who's very close to his maximum ability is Daniel Olsen. He's got 129 current ability, 139 potential ability. He's moving over to Porto by the looks of it very soon, I assume. I mean, there's a transfer arranged on the 1st of July, so today technically in game. But they are not the best players to come through the AGF youth intake in this 5-season simulation. That would be Andreas Storvang, who has 169 potential ability. At the age of 17, he's already got an under-21 cap for Denmark. He's very fast, which is, I guess, a good thing for a winger. And you know, obviously, the potential is there. And that price for a player with that amount of potential ability is mad. There is this very strange thing that only seems to be happening in Denmark so far that I've seen anyway, and that is players like Axel Truson, who is a 19-year-old Swedish central midfielder, 120-something potential, but that's not why we're here. You'll notice he isn't actually a former AGF player. However, he did come through their youth intake. I think he is one of those players that basically gets poached before he becomes in the game. So Malmo poached him before he actually turned up at the club. But I've seen this with a few other teams that we're going to see later on in this video, or we may have already seen in this video, to be honest, where players are coming from Italy or Ghana and just immediately signing for Juventus for some reason, and I don't know why. Next up, we're going to take a look at Randers Football Club in the top division of Danish football, and I've done a save recently on FM23 with Esbjerg, and Randers were an absolute nightmare to play against. They always seem to beat me. In this save, they have produced 2 ridiculously good footballers. I think they might be the 2 best Danish footballers that we're going to see in this entire video. They've also produced 3 players with 130 potential or higher as well. Marco Ransborg is one of them with 132 potential, a very good looking striker if you ask me. With 135 potential ability, Elias Rugholm, who's currently playing first team football as well, 31 appearances and a goal to his name. He looks pretty good also. And with 138 potential ability, Klaus Chu, who I would sign this man in an instant. I would look at that shape and I'd look at those mental numbers and go, get him to my club. £2 to £6 million is a bargain in my eyes. But for £2.5 million to potentially £7.4 million, you can have Andreas Pedersen, who has 176 potential ability. Current ability is just about 120, I believe. Looks very good at the moment. Should be playing week in, week out. Arguably might be close to getting in the Danish side already. And he's not even the best player to come through Randers' youth intakes. That would be Brian Christensen with 178 potential ability. The central midfielder who looks really good, and at £2 to £6 million, you'd be silly not to buy him. If you found this guy sat in the Randers team at 18 years of age, you'd be wanting to bring him in. Someone wants to bring him in. Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, Bayern and Inter Milan want to be bringing him in. And you kind of can see why. Already he looks good, and we know with that ridiculously high potential as well, he's going to be amazing. Now, whilst the most exciting players aren't going to be coming from Lyngby, they will be getting themselves some pretty decent players, and because they are not really one of the top teams, they're kind of a yo-yo team in this Football Manager save, it's possible that you could go there, pinch some of these decent youngsters before they even get any value behind them. Just 7 players in total with 120 potential or higher, but like I said, because they're a bit of a yo-yo team, they're arguably more on the lower end of the top division, maybe even Division 2 in Denmark. You can basically pick up some pretty decent players. Ragnar Sigporsson is an Icelandic central midfielder, defensive midfielder, 9 caps to his name. 121 potential on this guy. 127 potential is Ulrik Eads, who is 19 years of age and has moved over to Juventus and is playing first team football for Juve. That's weird. I don't think he's good enough to play, but for £1.2 million, he looks pretty good, but he's very close to his actual potential ability. I think he's only got about 10 points to go before he hits it. But still, he's playing first team football for Juve. With 133 potential ability, we have Kasper Thielander, 19 years of age. Play anywhere across the midfield by the looks of all the attacking midfield roles. Looks pretty decent as well, getting some game time for Lyngby. Now, whilst he might not look much at the moment with 137 potential ability, David Palmer at 15 years of age is going to have some room to grow and some time to grow. And you might be expecting me to say, and guess what his second nationality is? He's just Danish. There's no second nationality at all. And top of the pile is potentially Denmark's #1 goalkeeper in a few years' time, Stefan Wartz, with 133 potential ability. Looks very good already. Played for Esbjerg on loan by the looks of it, and played 7 times already for his current side, Lyngby, as well. I think he looks pretty good. And for that money, to be fair, I'd probably take a punt on him. Somewhat of a yo-yo club in real life, AAB have established themselves in this stage to be more of a low half top division side in Denmark. They have managed to produce a fair few half-decent footballers, so let's take a look at them. 7 players that we'll take a look at in total, including Frederick Tangvig, who only has 121 potential ability, but his current ability is 118 already, which is why he looks pretty good. 20 years of age, left winger, central midfielder, arguably is where I'd probably be playing him. He's not worth a huge amount, but, I mean, he doesn't look too bad, does he? With 126 potential ability, we have Rasmus Berg, a goalkeeper who has spent a couple of seasons out on loan, or maybe a season out on loan at Vejgaard, who looks pretty decent. Not worth a lot of money either. 19 years of age, he needs to really get some football behind him, because if he doesn't get that football, he's not going to get better. With 128 potential, we have Asger Krathman, who is 20, with an under-21 cap as well. Spent a season out on loan at Hillerød, scoring a goal as well. Playing now first-team football by the looks of it for AAB. He looks pretty good. He's very fast. It's kind of all he's got, but it's a good thing to pin down. Make sure you're really good as a wing-back, then you can just learn how to kick a ball later. 3 players also have broke into the 130 potential, with Martin Sorensen with 134 potential ability. Already, I think he looks good. 4 under-21 caps and a goal to his name for the Danish national side as well. Also, 47 appearances for AAB. Aggressive and brave. Is that a good combination? With 135 potential ability, we have Frederick Rygaard, 18 years old, right back, maybe a centre-back at 6'2". Could you possibly be playing him there? He is a very aggressive man as well, with 16 aggression, but not as brave as the last guy. Maybe Denmark isn't the nation for you. Maybe you want to be taking a look over towards the United States, but not exactly at the United States, maybe a little bit further south. Let's take a look in this video here on screen where you can see some clubs to buy decent Mexican footballers from.